Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Who doesn't love a good podcast? I do. This podcast is in its third season. We are back talking filmmakers, actors, writers, voice actors, artists, all things entertainment. Real stories from real Hollywood. Stay connected with us on iHeart, iTunes, Spotify, and more. Thank you for listening to Creators to Creators, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today we have a special guest.
Hi, I'm Taylor Lyons.
You're back solo and you're just so talented. This girl is just absolutely amazing. Also my good friend, so I'm a bit biased. I think she's absolutely incredible. With every guest, I'm always asking, like, why and how did you find yourself in this industry? Where did that come from?
Well, I guess when I was telling my parents I wanted to be an actor, they're like, why? And I was like, I couldn't place my finger on it. And my grandmother came over, like, she's just wanting to go into this acting stuff. And they're like, well, you raised her watching movies 24/7. So no wonder she wants to be a part of it. So I think that probably had something to do with it, monkey see, monkey do. But I think I watched the movie Child Star, the Shirley Temple story about her upbringing. And it said that she, like, it was the whole thing about making people smile and feel better about their life and everything. And I think making people feel good, not in a suck-uppy way. I don't know how to word it, but like, I guess uplifting people has always been kind of a thing that I've been really wanting to do, like something that makes me feel fulfilled if I can encourage somebody or make them feel better. And that when they said people come to see you because you make them smile, and I was like, oh, make them, like, it translates to making them feel, making them happy, sad, go through all the emotions and stuff. And so I think for some reason that segment of the movie has stuck with me my entire life. And I was like, it was just some biopic. But yeah, I think that's kind of been the whole thing that kind of inspired me to start moving towards entertainment, because it's like, oh, you make people feel like happy and encouraged or certain ways. And then as I first started pursuing singing, so I was doing a lot of vocal competitions and stuff, and then I got into plays. And I asked my friend this probably wasn't the right person to ask because we were constantly auditioning for the same stuff. Like, she was also a singer. And I was like, do you think I'm a better singer or actress, as my peer when I was younger? And she was like, you're a better actress than you are a singer. And I was like, okay, well, I will shift my goals to that. So I was like, okay. But then things started, moving towards that and getting more affirmative action signs and instances that were like, this is the right field that you should be in right now and everything. So that's how I got here.
That's amazing. That's cool. So, I find it very interesting how a lot of actors and their stories of, like, their other talents that you just will never know about, but what they're known for. And you're like, whoa, they do this too. It's like, it's absolutely incredible. Do you ever think you ever, like, kind of go back and, try to sing something or make something in that kind of world creatively?
I mean, that'd be cool. I'm not like, no, but I don't think, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever pursue it full-time over acting, just because, you have people like Adele and Ariana Grande and all the, like, I'm not putting an age limit on people, but they've achieved such vocal skill and talent at such a young age. It's like you have to have some crazy cool hook or some sort of big stunt in order to really stand out, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah, as far as vocalists go. And I mean, I guess it's like with everything, it's just meeting the right people in order to make you stand out. But they're people who are really established off their skill and stuff. But you have movies and things where they have their actors sing, and I'm definitely down for that. Putting that as my first and foremost passion. Not really so much. Especially I damaged my vocal cords for a little while, like when I was in school, because I had an eating disorder and all that stuff, and I could feel my throat like get acidy, and I couldn't hit the same high notes anymore. I mean, I can hit them now, but it takes me a lot more warm up. It's been quite a few years since I recovered,
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so I now I can hit a pretty lower octave, but getting up to the really high impressive notes, that's
Yeah.
takes some warming up. And it's something, it's developing your instrument and craft when you're doing any of these things, like with acting. Working on my craft acting wise on a daily basis is something I find easier to do
Gotcha.
than scheduling out 1 to 2 hours for vocal improvement.
Right? I definitely, I can't imagine
Yeah.
that for myself. Oof.
Yeah.
More power to you. No, I mean, acting is work too, though. I'm sure, just that, but obviously, you love what you do, so that's why you do something. Have you, like, I'm sure after, like, I don't want to just talk about the good parts of acting, but also the parts that just the struggling parts, the parts that how, the real like the work that you had to put into getting those roles. Like, did you have to go out? Did you audition? Did you put yourself out there? What were some things that you did to, like, just, get the jobs, or,
Oh, yeah, definitely constant submissions and stuff like that. It was really meeting like the right people. I was in a
Yeah.
school where some of my classmates were interested in acting, and they had parents that were like, yeah, you should go over here to pursue this. Meanwhile, my parents were like, we do not want you to be going out on these auditions, not until you're finished with X, Y, and Z. And I was like, well, we'll see. But I had a friend introduce me to his agent, and that got me up on, I was doing, like, student films at like a local college and stuff. And that was getting experience in addition to like my training with the acting classes I was taking. But yeah, well, after getting that experience, a friend of mine introduced me to his agent, and then she got me more real auditions.
Gotcha.
And all I had to do was just, when you have a representative like that, you be available and have your materials updated with them to make sure that they know what you look like. But I wasn't getting a lot of, I was confused because I was getting auditions and stuff, and then I wasn't getting bookings. But I knew the people who were getting bookings, and I was like, they don't have as much experience with like training and stuff that I do. And then I found out that the casting director who was doing most of the local casting in the area, he thought I was fat. So that was something. So I was like, oh, okay. And I had lost a lot of weight from, I grew up very overweight. And then I lost a lot of weight once I hit high school years and onward. But I was like, oh, okay. So I do not look how I think I look in my head. So
how do you get, like, that's the thing about acting, and that's why I commend actors. It's such a judgmental Like there's that part of it, right? That exists. You put yourself out there, and then there's all this criticism that, I think that even on my side too, even with, your work is your baby, right? And it's like, oh God, I got to share this with the world, and okay, and but criticism it's good, but then it's like some people are overly criticizing to the point where everyone thinks they're a critic. How do you deal with that as an artist?
Well, at first it was kind of like, oh, it hit me hard. I was like, oh my gosh. The person who found that out was friends with said casting director. Gotcha. And they told me in gentle terms. They didn't say it point blank. He said this. It was, you're not the type of person that he usually casts. And I was like, what does that mean? I'm blonde. He's casting all these other blonde girls. What's the difference? And then I was like, and they said like, something about physicality and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm much bigger than I must think I am. And I had to do like a real hard look at myself. And I was like, well, I'm going to be a lot more fit. And soon after, it's just one of those things. Yeah. That it's like, if you are a specific type, I was like in the middle, like I was normal, if that makes sense. Yeah. I was like I was thick, THICC. For the stuff that he was casting, he had, like all casting directors have a different style of casting, like, some people like to cast more slender people. Some people like to cast more muscular, but they're all generally on the fit side unless they are a specific type of character or person, or they're wanting to introduce body diversity, which is great. It's a great trend that's happening right now. Yeah. And it was just something that it was like, I thought I was where I needed to be. So I was like, well, this is more, at first it was kind of like, oh, that's disappointing. I'm really disappointed in myself and where I thought I was, just realizing my world was not what I thought it was, if that makes any sense.
It does.
But yeah. So just, it motivated me to get healthier. So on a fitness level, it was great. It motivated me to actually reach my goals. And I'm constantly striving to get better and stuff. Like I said, I grew up fat. So it's kind of like it's a constant battle. Right. But yeah, with that, and this was after an eating disorder too. This was after my eating disorder. And I was looking back, I'm pretty proud of myself for not having an episode delving back into those bad habits.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Just now realizing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I just took it as motivation. I mean, like with every criticism, at first it hits like, oh, that hurt. Yeah. And then it's like, well, you know what? I'm going to get better so nobody can ever say that about me again. Or, it's like when it comes to critics, as far as like your performance, that's a totally different thing. When it comes to you as like your body and stuff, it's like, and this is where it can get kind of manic to where people become obsessed with their health. Not their health, but with their body, to where it becomes an unhealthy obsession.
Right.
Like, I want to get to this part so nobody can ever say that again. If it's somebody who is in charge of your work saying that, like a casting director or whatever, it's kind of like, well, I need to listen because they're the one dishing out jobs, a little bit, but still at the same time, take it with a grain of salt that your worth is not your body and your talent is not based off your body.
Absolutely.
Right. So I was like, okay. But I did lose enough weight to be on his type of person that he cast. And that subsequently opened the door for more roles and stuff, of the type. Because if you're starting out playing, the other woman type things, it's usually a certain type. So it's like, and those are what people usually start off with, horror flick girl or other woman. So, and they're usually pretty cookie cutter molds type thing. You see the same type of people starting out, and yeah. So I was like, well, this is where I gotta start from. But anyways, yeah. No, it was interesting.
I feel that. And, it's because, I've been and what, God, I've had, it was rough. And you, like you said, you have to kind of sit back and it hurts for a second, but you have to sit back, like reevaluate, like, okay. And then sometimes they're completely wrong. Like I've been, casting rooms where it was like, we don't want your type. Like you just, I'm just thinking, is it my color, my skin? Really? Is it that what it is? There's your mind just starts to wonder. You just, I've had it where it's like, but it again, it's when you put yourself out there for that. I mean, that's what's there. It's that kind of world, and we just have to keep going.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like as I've gotten more experience and stuff, it's been something that I've come to the realization that it's not that there's something wrong with me, and it's not that there's something wrong with the other person. It's the person casting it, the production company, the director. I mean, this being on the filmmaking side, they have a vision of what they want. And if you don't fit that vision, it's not that you're bad, and it's not that they are small-minded. Mm-hmm. It's just that they're going for a certain vibe or whatever. And you could look like their ex-girlfriend, and they're like, no, it's like, I can't have that right now. And that seems petty, but it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, there's so many different little nuances, and it's not that you're not talented or anything like that. I mean, sometimes it is, you really need to work on your skills, but it's just, it's a million different reasons that go into casting and stuff. And that really reduced a lot of stress on my life. And it made me less petty competitive. Like I'm healthy competitive. Like I want to do more. It's like, oh, I like that. How'd you it's like, how can I better myself to get up on that level?
Yeah.
As opposed to being, oh, I got to keep it secret, keep it safe. I don't want to tell anybody how I did anything, and it's like, yeah. So, and that's a whole nother thing. Cause it's like helping people, in life tends to bless you back, especially in the creative industries. Yeah. There's so many people that it's like you help them and they might not help you back. They might even be like, oh, I did this by myself. And it's like, you didn't, but that's okay. Sure. That's fine. They may never bless you back. Yeah. But because you did that, it's like karma points, you reap what you sow, and good things come back to you. Sure. In every facet of life, even if it feels like it's not happening.
Yeah.
And then and then there's people who are very extremely self-serving, and you see that even though at first they start making gains, they hit like a wall, and it's like, whoa. And they talk about being lonely at the top and everything, and it's like, how you got there was not by helping other people and not by looking out for the people who helped you along the way. Now, this guy is pretty controversial now, but at the time he was well respected. I did a thing with Kevin Spacey in a classroom type setting that was recorded, a master class. It was a very extremely educational experience. One of the most educational experiences I've had in my career. Because I just, you're acting, but at the same time you're being taught. It's like a filmed workshop of all these different actors and the same age group. And he's giving you feedback and stuff. And I realized, wow, I did not commit to the direction that he gave me. Mm-hmm. I was like, so from then on, I was like, I have to full on commit, but that was one of those things. But one of his things, his mentor was Jack Lemmon. Mm-hmm. And Jack Lemmon always talked about send the elevator back down. It's like, you get up to a certain point and it's like, you help people along the way. You rise up a level, send the elevator back down, like reaching on an olive branch, opening a door for somebody that's not where you are, and that will continue to elevate you, elevate them. And then the next thing you know, you're like Adam Sandler and all his friends, constantly making movies and creating content together, stuff that you really love doing. And people like Adam Sandler's stuff because you can tell they have a joy creating it, and it's not everybody's taste, and not everybody's cup of tea. My mom doesn't like it, but It's like he is undeniably successful, and he appeals to a crazy ton of people because everybody knows he's a nice guy, and everybody knows that he helps out his friends, and he's constantly using his friends in the movies like that. And it's a symbiotic relationship that just garners joy and success that everybody can see and want to support.
Absolutely. I love that about him. And I love that's like the goal, right? To be able to go to work and do what you love to do, with people that you love, and then are gonna bring in that family kind of aspect, or I met you. I mean, there's so many amazing people in this business that you meet, and you're like, man, if I can just get a team together, but who your team, the people that are there for you, when
exactly,
you know what I mean, and that's definitely the ultimate goal, for sure. Which leads me to my next question. I think everyone loves the sense of Hollywood, and the whole like, oh, it's that it's magical and you get to be someone else. But acting is good, you love it, but the ultimate goal, would you say, is to be your own boss? And being your own boss in any industry, really, right?
Yeah.
Having multiple streams of income is the ultimate goal, I think, for everyone. I mean, I know you, and I know that you have so many different things that you want to do in your life. How are you making those steps to making that a reality for yourself?
Well, I heard somebody say, it was probably Bob Proctor, who recently passed this week. Yes. But he said, if time and money were no factor, what would you want to do? What would you be doing? What would you be exploring? And I was like, well, if I all of a sudden had like $1 billion, I would want to create a movie that I liked, and obviously that I would be in because I'm an actor. And something like a movie that I liked, and have experience doing that. So during 2020, I had a chance to jump on as a producer for Flight 704, which if you go to my social media,
check it out.
Yeah. So that was something that I'm like, it's been extremely educational, eye-opening. I have so much more respect for behind the scenes people. I already had a lot of respect for them, but I have so much more now, for people who have been doing it and killing it consistently. I'm like, it is a lot of work doing the behind the scenes stuff. And it's like, whoa. Yeah. So that was one thing I started doing. And then NFTs came out, and I was like, I am really curious about that. I recently got an iPad, which I used to, before, in conjunction with my desire to become a singer, I also wanted to be an artist. So I was doing all sorts of like art classes and stuff as well. I was like, I can make my own album art or whatever, but as I travel a lot, I'm not at my own home right now. I'm a gypsy. But it's hard to travel with art supplies, canvases, and all that stuff, and keep up on your skill. So I was recently gifted an iPad for Christmas. Which was
nice.
Yes, that was a very big blessing. Because it's like you're drawing and painting on paper, but it's all just confined into this little thing that you can take anywhere. And I'm like, whoa. So NFTs started like popping up everywhere. I'm like, what the heck's an NFT? Like a non-fungible token. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? I'm like, it just looks like somebody opened up Paint on Microsoft stuff, threw a couple of lines and threw it on there. And that's really what some of them look like, and they sell for bank. But I was like, I want to try it. I want to see what it is. And yes, so that is something I have been exploring as an alternate exploration of artistic expression.
I love
And
And you're
yes.
really good at it, by the way. You're really good at it. Not trying to like, I've seen some of your stuff. I was like, whoa, what?
Oh, thanks.
I wouldn't know where to begin in NFT. Like, how do you do this?
Well, so the first things that I started trying with, and they're posted on my OpenSea, but I was trying to do like portraits, incorporating like some cryptocurrency design in there, but I immediately started posting them for sale. And the thing that I've realized I've been doing a lot more research on how to, I guess, stand out and to be seen and to create meaningful content for things. There's a lot of people, they're photographers and artists, and I'm like, this is a way that I'm able to do art and like put it up there and everything, and have people see it and like, it'd be kind of cool. And there's so many varying types of art that are like, again, like I said, there's scribble art, like literal scribbles that are being collected. And I'm like, that's interesting. I'm like, there's literally something for everybody. And there's so many different types. There's utilitarian NFTs, which means you purchase it and you either get a download or you purchase it and you unlock some sort of game piece. I do have some friends. I don't remember what their NFT collection's called, but they've created these skins for characters in this fantasy game that you can buy. They got licensed and an agreement with them. So when you buy their NFT, you can use it in a physical game. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I don't code. That's not, yeah, I know, right? I'm like, but that's not my skill set. My skill set is art and creative stuff. So when I started doing the first digital art, like portrait type stuff, I posted it and I was like, awesome. And then nothing happened. And I was like, okay, I need to figure out how you can get seen. You can't just post and then somebody buys it. That's what my naive and experienced self thought.
It's like YouTube.
yeah, exactly. You post it and everybody's gonna watch it.
Right.
It's like, yeah. So right now I've combined my love for old movies. I grew up with going back to my grandma saying that my dad had movies raise us. I mean, he kind of really did, because he was a cinephile, and like our entire house could be like, there's just, you've been to my parents' house. There's like movies everywhere,
yes.
from
it's like a library of movies.
yeah, exactly. So that was my childhood. And but we started off like, yeah, there were some cartoons there when we were like little, but we started off watching black and white television, like, the original sitcoms, I Love Lucy, The Honeymooners, and all that. And then we gradually graduated to color and like Little House on the Prairie. We did not make it to TGIF, the 90s. Like I still haven't seen Full House, Boy Meets World, or there was another one, Family
Dawson's
Time.
Creek? No,
I've not seen that, and I haven't seen Friends at all. So that section I'm not super exposed to it. I've seen a lot of movies from there, but not a lot of television shows. Anything before 1990, I'm pretty semi-familiar with, Facts of Life, The Rockford Files, Columbo, whatever.
Yeah, that was a show.
Yeah. So I have a deep appreciation and love for old movies, like a lot of things that show on TCM, Turner Classic Movies. And so I've kind of I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk. He was talking about NFTs, and the thing that always gets him, which also gets a ton other people, is Americana nostalgia collectibles. And one of the things that people collect more than anything else are trading cards, specifically sports trading cards. So I'm combining my love for old movies, old Hollywood with trading cards. So I'm making old Hollywood trading cards. So on the front, it's a kind of a pop art collage art of people like Hedy Lamarr and Myrna Loy, Hattie McDaniel, and like, you know, so many people that stood out and were collectible worthy, you know, that
awesome.
people that we still watch their movies today, like on TCM, and or you have the DVD of it or something like that. But like a lot of old actors, so I make a art pop collage of them, and then I give them a card number. Now they're not in any specific order.
Okay.
When I make them, they're given a number, you know.
That's
now
cool.
William Powell is number one because I do love the Thin Man series. If you have not. Yes.
So
right. So he was fresh in my mind. So he was the first one I made. So he's number one. And then Myrna Loy, who's his partner and all that. She's also a pretty inspiring person. Like, she just seems classy all the way around, looking up her life. But she's number two. Anyways. Yeah. So it's the goal is to make at least 400 spanning from the silent movie era to the 80s.
Wow.
So that's, yeah, right now I have a list of 200, not even, I'm starting from like the 30s right now. I'm going 30s to 50s right there. So I have about 200, have almost 100 made. It's really time consuming. Sorry, I'm going to way too much detail about this.
This is good. I mean, I don't know anything about the NFT world. This is good.
Oh,
this is good. We all want to know.
Yeah. I mean, some people, there's a lot of people, they're photographers and they upload photographs and stuff. And then there's artists who have had digital art files on their computer and they're finally uploading them. Like there was this guy, and I heard about him in Africa. He's in like he has internet. So I guess it's not a third world country, but I knew he was struggling. His story was pretty cool. He was struggling really hard. He sold one NFT and now he's taking care of his family, you know?
Oh,
exactly. I'm like, just from one piece of artwork in another country, you know? And then there's little kids that are doing stuff. I'm trying to help my niece do that too. She's very talented at digital art. And so she's been really interested in it. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And her parents are like, okay, you know,
so it's basically I guess it's obviously it's online. It's this digital world that you create, but then someone essentially buys your art.
Right.
For whatever that price is.
Mm-hmm.
And then
yeah, and then it can increase over time. It's a lot like stocks.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's like the price of your item is based off other people's opinion.
Gotcha.
Type thing.
Gotcha.
I'm fairly new to Twitter and the NFT space, but Twitter seems to be the platform. I have a TikTok for it, Twitter for it. I'm posting on Instagram for it. I'm not posting on Instagram as much as I should, but I'm trying to figure out the whole community. There's a lot of people there that are super supportive. There's a lot of really cool art, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is my stuff good enough? I'm like, there's room for everybody at the table.
Have you shared it on Facebook community sites? Are you?
I have not explored Facebook. That is a very good point. Yes. Yeah, so I will start looking there. Thank you for that reminder.
I joined a community on Facebook and I posted something. It was for women in film. I think I posted something on there, and it was reshared with the community of whoever's all in the group. You know, it's all those eyes are watching it, and then because the like-mindedness, they just started resharing it and just kind of trickled. And, you know, you're like, whoa, that's cool.
Exactly. And it's just like some of my things that I have shared, like I'll get like a good deal of like likes and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So that's what I do. And then I try to repeat it. And
Ah,
I'm like, well, what was the thing? So I'm currently trying to figure out the whole social media presence with it,
yeah.
because I was listening to another girl who had a really big following for her digital art, but a lot of her followers were not interested in
Mhm.
the NFT space. So she launched a collection, and only 2 out of the 40 pieces that she made sold.
Wow.
And yeah, she said, if her quote was, if an NFT launched in the woods and nobody was there to see it, did it actually happen? And that was what my problem was with my first initial round.
I
I
see.
wasn't putting it anywhere. I was like, I made this. Here, friends, look at that.
Right.
You know? So now it's like creating a community, because that's one of the things people like with the NFT community, a lot of the projects, as they're called, they are based off some sort of community and familiarity. And the one that I really identify with is the film community,
Mhm.
obviously. And classic film, old Hollywood, that's like, I love it. So being able to combine those two is something that, one, I really enjoy doing. And two, I feel like I've already been getting likes on OpenSea, which means people are sharing, like saving it
That's good.
for when it's available. So I'm like, that's cool. I'm not going to be posting them I'm not going to be posting them for sale until I have at least 100 made and up there.
So people who don't have an iPad or that device, they can they can do it on the computer at home too.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do it on your computer. You can do it on your phone.
Awesome.
Now I don't know why. I have other friends that make NFTs, and they can upload straight from their phone. But for
Wow.
some reason, I can't upload from my phone or my other mobile devices. I have to upload everything on my computer. I do not know why. It's probably a learning curve. It's been very educational for me, finding out a lot of things about people's life, like and then I'll have a brief little bio at the bottom of all the things as well. But yeah, so it's like that. I'm like, I feel like I should be a host for TCM after this. But
You hear that, TCM?
yeah. Plug.
There we go.
But, yeah.
For people that are just that listen to this, and could you explain a little bit of like what exactly is NFT and why should people do it?
Well, NFT stands for non-fungible token, which I was like, what the heck does that mean? But it basically means there's nothing that will ever be purely equal to it, if that makes sense. It's working all off the decentralized currency type thing. So it's constantly changing in value. So you know how cryptocurrency kind of works. I'm still learning day by day. So it's like, I am not an expert by no means. I am experimental at, yeah, like anyways. But the cryptocurrency is constantly changing. So when you list something for, let's say, 0.2 Ethereum, which is one of the most popular cryptocurrencies, 0.2 Ethereum changes in value constantly. So it's either 0.2 Ethereum could be like Ethereum was most recently like $3,000. So 0.2 of that would be, oh gosh, my math, like a couple $100.
Yeah.
Something like that. So one day it's a couple $100, but let's say Ethereum went up to $6,000. 0.2 Ethereum is like, $1,000, something like that. So it's constantly changing. It's kind of like the barter system where somebody would trade a chicken for wood,
Gotcha.
to keep their home warm. So that's kind of like a very loose way of explaining it. It's like I understand in my head, but verbalizing it's a little bit more difficult.
Right.
And people explain it in many different ways, but they're all kind of saying the same thing. So non-fungible means there's really nothing that is equal to it. A dollar is a dollar. A dollar is always whatever the pound is, like the pound's worth X amount from the dollar type thing. You know what I mean? There's nothing that's, it's not a flat rate.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the whole point of it is kind of like, well, what's the point of cryptocurrency?
Right.
Is to have, exactly. So it's like, it's digital currency, decentralized. You do not need to use a bank.
Right. It's cutting out the middleman, right? Or something like that.
Exactly. So it's all on your digital wallet. And so like everybody's heard about the metaverse, and that's kind of, you've done Oculus, right? Like the virtual reality type stuff.
Yeah.
So there is a theory that soon we will be living in a Ready Player One type world.
Whoa.
I think that's what they're gearing towards. I think that's the overall goal of the metaverse, is to have the world in a Ready Player One type thing. Because why else would you be putting so much money into this whole rebranding thing, Zuckerberg?
Right.
But yeah. So NFTs, people like Paris Hilton, who she just put up digital art, and it's like, I'm not knocking her skill at all. It's like, she was very talented. She is very talented at her art, but it's like, there's a million other artists that can do the same, if not better. Why did her sell for so much? And it's because of her exposure and who she is. It's like, product placement type.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's digital art. And theoretically, some people purchase the digital art to put up in their virtual home. And this is the whole VR, since there's totally many different reasons for NFT, but currently I'm talking about the VR lifestyle.
Right.
People are selling digital property, building apartment buildings that you can buy apartments in for your virtual reality. Wow. Type thing. They're building luxury homes, they're building cars. And I think the overall goal and thought is to be able to use these things in virtual reality. That is my VR point of view on NFTs. Wow. Now, there's another one. It's kind of like doing art collection. Now, this is the part that I like. The whole VR thing, my experiences with virtual reality have not been the best. So I'm like, that's not my motivation. Great if it is for you. Yeah. I get claustrophobic with it for some reason. I'm like, yeah. But the other side is the whole art collector aspect. If you purchase art, now you have it digitally and you have it on your phone, and it can be your ID and everything. That's one aspect, is to be like a digital representation of yourself.
Interesting.
Like what you like and love, but at the same time, it can increase in value. So let's say you buy, again, let's go back to the 0.2 Ethereum. You purchase a picture of a glass of wine for 0.2 Ethereum. Wow. In a couple of years, Ethereum goes up. Yeah. Your NFT went up in value. That's so cool. Yeah. So it's like stock, and then people will buy it from you because they're like, wow, that went up. Like Bored Ape, I think that's the really popular one. I know CryptoPunks is really popular as well. They started out at like 0.02 Ethereum, which is like super low ball, and like $30, $50, something like that. And now they're selling for millions of dollars. Wow. I'm like, okay. But it's because multiple people are buying and trading and selling, being like, I feel like this is valuable. And there's a whole other thing about the evaluations and the value levels that contribute to whether your NFT is considered rare. Gotcha. Like having attributes to your art creation. So for things like that, and that is something that kind of goes into the whole trading card thing. What is it about your trading card that makes it unique? Type thing. Like, when people collect baseball trading cards, what is it that makes that specific card unique and collectible? And it's usually because there's only like one made for every like 500, So people are like, oh, I want that Babe Ruth card. There was only one in this entire whatever.
Wow.
But it's like for, I don't know, baseball players, for the other guy, for the shortstop. I knew that position. And people are like, oh, well, I got the shortstop card. And they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I got that in my pack that I bought the other week, So that's another thing about the whole evaluation of the value and pricing of your NFT. A lot of it is still kind of confusing, but when you're uploading an NFT, depending on what platform you're using, I use OpenSea, which is one of the more popular ones. There's also Rarible, and there's a Solana platform. There's a new one called Voice that I'm kind of interested in. I'm debating on seeing how that works with my niece or my other project that I'm also working on. But there's different platforms that you can upload your stuff on. But specifically with OpenSea, when you're uploading it, you title it, you give a brief description about what it is. In my case, I do bios of all the actors and stuff. And then you select the properties. And this is where your rarity comes in. So my properties are like, what's the subject? Male, female, animal. So it's like, okay. And that's divided into a percentage based off what I upload. What's the dominant color? For me, all my NFT cards, the pop art is stylized with a specific main color. And so it's like, what's the color? And then I say like blue, green, purple, pink, whatever. And then it's like, how many awards did this person win? What is this person known for, type thing. And it's like, so then the system will create a percentage of rarity based off the stats that you enter.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So that also adds to the whole rarity, and it can help drive up price for the collections that are selling and everything like that. There's another creator. He does trading cards as well, but I see some people, they literally take photos of trading cards that are online. I know exactly what app they put it through to give it like a blurry effect, and then they sell that. I'm like,
what?
You didn't do anything. You downloaded somebody else's work.
Wow.
And then you altered it, type thing. You're not creating, like, it's one thing to create a collage and assemble your own like artwork thing. That's something that's pretty commonly practiced and done. But taking somebody else's art and stuff, like there's people, they take the cryptocurrency logo. There's this guy I saw, he did a melting effect to it on an app on his phone, and he sold it for like $5,000. I'm like, what? All you did was take somebody else's piece of art. It's like, okay. And that's, yeah. And it's like, okay, so that's kind of like also assigned to what people like. People like things that are created or related to Bitcoin or Ethereum. If you have a symbol for the cryptocurrency stuff, then that's appealing to a lot of people in the NFT space. If you have a lot of stuff with Marilyn Monroe sells, from what I've been seeing. Yeah. So like the classic icons sell a lot. Like people altered their faces too. I'm like, that's not your work. Okay.
Wow. Did NFT, did someone, like, who discovered that, and how long has that been around for?
So I don't know who discovered it. I think it's been around for a handful of years.
Okay.
I don't want to say 5. Okay. But back when Bitcoin started, climbing, there was the whole Bitcoin's on the scene. Everybody's like, oh, it's been around for a couple years. You had to mine it in order to use it or whatever. And then it was like available for everybody. Then it spiked and then it crashed real hard and everybody got like, I hate crypto. When it started climbing and being stabilized again, I think that's when the NFTs showed up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because there's not a huge history on it. CryptoPunks is one of the first ones, which is probably why they're like one of the first successful ones, which is probably why they are so successful, because they're at the beginning. And a lot of people are forecasting saying that right now is it's not the zenith, not the very, very beginning,
Right.
but it's the, let's say if every popularity thing is a mountain like that,
Right.
we are like, let's say this is the peak where my finger is,
Mhm.
and this is the beginning.
Right.
We're probably right about here.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's like, if you're getting into it, you should probably get into it now. But it's like, again, it's the whole thing. If you launch a collection, unless you have a good network of communication and stuff, how are people going to see it? So that's, I think that's the struggle with a lot of creators with it. And there's so many, it's like an endless world the NFT world is, because like I said, people are creating real estate, they're creating blueprints that you can buy blueprints to make something in real life, but in NFT type thing, you digital cards, art, trading cards. But then there's also Quentin Tarantino. He uploaded behind the scenes footage, never been seen before. He only uploaded, I think, 6 clips of special access footage. So people bought that. So they have
live action?
Yeah. It's like from movies that have never been seen before.
Wow.
He uploaded those. So this is just an example. Clips from his movie that have never been seen before, special access content. And now those people, they have it. Since they've watched it, are you going to want to keep watching that all the time? No. So put it back up for sale and they can make money off of that. Now, one thing that is cool, NFTs, you can get a royalty on it. If you are the creator, you will get a royalty on all future purchases until nobody buys it anymore, so
I see.
Yeah. So like, I don't know what his royalty was or whatever, but most people do about 5-10% for every resale. So if he sold it for, let's say, like $5,000, and then the person who bought it from sold it for $10,000, he will be getting 5-10% from the $10,000 sale.
Got it.
Consistently, until there's just no more. And then there's this thing called, but yeah, and then musicians are uploading songs, they're uploading like alternate versions of things, music videos. You buy their NFT, you get special access. Some people, if you buy an NFT, not only do you get the digital thing right there, but you get a ticket to events, you get free things, that's one of the utilitarian NFTs. It has real life utility, not just digital life utility. So those things it's just an endless like amount of things you can create and put up there. And it's like, we're only at the beginning of the mountain,
Right, exactly. It's not like at its best, but get on when the it's going well. So
exactly.
I totally get that, because then it's going to be one of the things of the past. Once it hits there, everybody's going to be doing it, and it's like on to the next thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, yeah, I mean, some people think that Gary Vee, for example, he says he has faith that NFTs are here to stay, but he does think it will go mainstream. And when it's mainstream, it's not like you don't get as huge of a return on everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's not grabbing at it like this. It's like, oh, I got to have that. I want to do NFTs. I'm making NFTs too. It's going to be like, like with everything, like the cryptocurrencies, there's a ton of cryptocurrencies, but you only think of Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin. And well, you have Dogecoin, but the first 3 that I mentioned, they're the first 3 that kind of came on the scene and started getting noticed and notoriety and stuff like that. But then you have stuff like Dogecoin, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, Dogecoin to the moon. I love Dogecoin. I'm saying it wrong. I love it better than Bitcoin, and it's like, so you'll have things like that, that'll come be superstars and come up, but it's like the earlier you get in, the higher likelihood you have staying power, if that makes sense.
Right. It's kind of like when, like, if it's too saturated, then it's like you're not going to be able to be seen because
as much
because there's so many people,
right.
in it, just like how YouTube kind of, the value of YouTube kind of went down, even though there's a lot of people on YouTube. Like I was getting, when YouTube was good, 500, almost $1,000 a month. But now,
Whoa,
you know,
nice.
yeah. And just from just, you know, whether it's vlogging or putting up short films or whatever, but, and that was just a mere 16,000 followers. That was it. Right. But there's other people with 20, 50,000, 100,000, millions of followers. So
Right.
that's why they're constantly, I mean, even I have a friend who has 500,000 followers and on YouTube, and she's a gamer. She makes, she makes a living making those videos. So what she would have to do before, she didn't have to upload as much, but now she has to upload like every week, like weekly. Just so it's like almost like having a show. You're like a showrunner.
Exactly. It's hard to keep up with the demand because you have to, like with all the platforms, you have to be posting consistently and creating new content, creating trending content, creating valuable content. You know, it's like you have to have it's not a trifecta, it's like 10 different things that you have to have consistently all the time, you know, to get exposure on a lot of these platforms. Now it's like, you know, having people cross promote things, that is a surefire way to get you much more viewings, which is like always super thankful for like reciprocation, you know, and like, you know, people who support and share and everything. That's one of like the biggest things to get the word out there for anybody. But yeah, really building like a network. There's a guy, his name's Grant Cardone, and he says your net worth is your network.
True.
So you have valuable people with you that are investing in you and what you're doing and everything. That increases like this because they support you, they got your back, and they're going to keep sharing with their friends what you're doing and like, you know, reposting things type stuff. And that's something that in the NFT space, in any space, it's it's like that's how you grow your business, is from, you know, multiple people and like multiple avenues and diversifying yourself and your friends groups, you know, like being open to people. And I think that's something with the whole pandemic that a lot of people have improved on posting digitally, but it's become a lot harder for a lot of people to integrate themselves into real relationships, as far as like, you know, working relationships, friendships and stuff like that. Because unfortunately we had all the lockdowns, which were necessary and everything, but it's one of those things that we're seeing a side effect in like kids and teenagers and stuff. And it's kind of like taking a toll on them mentally because they didn't have a lot of social development. There's a lot more anxiety being around people. And that's something that's usually you experience all that, you get rid of that, I should say, when you're exposed to more people, and you get that as a child by going to school or going to functions and stuff. But yeah, that's so to get your NFTs out there, back to that, interacting with people and having a good network of people who support you, your art, your vision for where you want your project to go. That seems to be the thing. And that's something that I'm trying to work on with. I haven't posted about my collection or project on my personal social media. I kind of wanted to see what I could do based off the project's merit by itself. So I haven't been cashing in my chips, as some would say, and being like, hey guys, look at what I'm doing. Which I mean, that's what a lot of people do, and it works for them. But it's like I would like to see the merit of my project before I start promoting it and seeing the type of feedback that I get. And it's been growing pretty consistently. Like it's not crazy awesome. Like I don't have like 500 followers on Twitter with this account, which is Hollywood NFT on Twitter. But
follow.
I thank you. It's been live for like 5 days, but I have like, at least getting like a follower a day every couple of days, which is, it's pretty consistent from starting from nothing and not banking on other platforms to try to get seen, and that's also something that's pretty interesting too. Seeing when you hashtag something on any social media, you can see how many other tags are tagged that. On Instagram, when I post something and I hashtag NFTs, I'll get a lot of comments and likes from like, bots and stuff. But then you also get a lot of people that are, actually interested in the whole NFT space and the art space. But it's a small hashtag number. Yeah. Whereas on Twitter, there's like thousands, it's like, yeah, we love NFTs at Twitter. That's why everybody says, if you want to sell NFTs, you have to be on Twitter. And I was like, okay. So that's why I got Twitter. I never got the hang of Twitter on a personal level. Same. So I'm trying. Yeah.
I don't understand the purpose.
Yeah. It's like, this is my thought. I'm like, okay. Yeah. But then there's TikTok. That also, it's small. The NFT community is small on TikTok. Okay. It's growing, but it's pretty small. So TikTok, Instagram, and I have not checked Facebook yet, which I will.
All right.
Yeah, but it's like they're all different levels of community, and it's like you're hitting different types of people, type thing. But seeing that to see what the market is and see what's appealing and attention grabbing, like because everybody's like, oh, that looks cool. I want to look at that. Like, oh, that's fun. Yeah. I mean, we all do it. It's like what clickbait type stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You're really doing great in the NFT world. I mean, you know, thank you for telling us about that, sharing us all that knowledge. I mean, it's interesting because I honestly had no idea. Like you see like celebrities on it now and doing it and you're like, what is this? And Kevin Hart posted something about he's going to start NFT and I'm just like, everyone's doing it. But what is it? So thank you for sharing that knowledge. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Of course. And I mean, again, I'm trying to figure out everything still. Because I mean, a lot of people who are collectors, they say, I don't fully understand it, but I'm doing it, and that's something, it's like, you don't fully understand how like light works. You're not an electrician, but you still use it, you still install it in your house or get somebody to. But yeah. So
this is all to fund. So for instance, say you make $500,000 on an NFT. That's a great day. With that, are you going to put that back into your art, the love of art? What do you do? Like, or is another type of business adventure that you're working on?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm a big person about saving a little, tithing a little and investing, a little, but primarily going like with all things for better improvement in my career space, getting better materials, affording myself the capability to go to different things and like, investing in my career. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If as an actor, artist, whatever, creator, I'm like, that's something I realized. It's like creator to creators. It's like creators got to create, and all during COVID, that's what I kept trying to do, and I was like, wow, I'm a creator artist. I was like, I'm a creative. Wow, this is real cool.
I think we all are, right? I think the people that are in the industry think, it's just when our backs are against the wall, which is what essentially what COVID kind of did. Yeah. It was like, okay, what are we gonna do? And then for the people that were like, people like, what stopped me from talking to my plant in the house? I did this, or whatever. Yes. So that, I mean, that's how Creators Through Creators was born, was in the pandemic when it first began. I was like, I gotta talk to some like-minded people, to see what's up. Like, I know I'm not the only one feeling this kind of, but then it grew to something much bigger than what it was. So like a blessing in disguise. Yeah, we're always constantly trying to figure out something else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like, that's one thing that every entrepreneur, it's like when you are a creator, you are an entrepreneur.
Right.
You don't go to a job and have it. Like if you're part of a studio, then you go to a job and you have your pay rate and everything like that. But most people in the entertainment industry, they're contract workers. So you are working, based off job to job, and in between every person goes through slow seasons, and it's like, what do you do during that, so diversifying yourself with other avenues of income, like with investments. I know a lot of my actor friends have been pretty gregarious, I think that's the word. Aggressive, let's put aggressive with their crypto investments, and that it's reaped a good profit for them, to where they can invest in other things and like buy equipment in order to increase their level of content quality, and that's something that as an actor and a creator, updating your quality is really important as well, like getting quality headshots, and all this stuff isn't cheap. It's like people like, oh, I'm going to be an actor, and it's like, recently just rewatched The Office,
Great show.
last series again. Yeah, but the episode where Andy quits and he's like, I'm going to be an actor, they're like, wow, good for you, you have all this savings and stuff so you can pay for all these things, and he's like, no. But it's like, but it's real. It's like, you have to go out and buy headshots. It's like, where do you get headshots when you're starting out? I personally don't think you should pay more than $150 for maybe $250 for headshots when you're first starting out. But like the higher quality headshots that you get, they're much more expensive, like $500 to $1,000, per session. And it's like, wow. But the people that see them, they appreciate the quality of it. But when you're first starting out, until you're making money doing the acting stuff, it's like, am I going to get a really good return on that investment? Especially if your hair changes every 6 months. My hair does not change every 6 months. I have baby bangs right now.
You're slaying them, girls. Slay.
Thank you. But I mean, this is, I had to get some new headshots because my hair changed a little bit, but you see my hair goes away. So it's, if I have all my hair down, then it doesn't really make a difference. But it's like when you have your hair change, when you gain or lose weight, when you have facial hair, for guys, when you have facial hair, and all that stuff. Like you have to have all these different types of headshots. And then on top of that, having reel footage. And if you're on Actors Access, when you upload your reel, there's all these submission sites, and they cost either monthly or yearly dues. And then when you upload material to all those sites, if Backstage, it's free to upload whatever the heck you want if you pay for the yearly membership or monthly membership. Actors Access, you pay a yearly fee, but then you have to pay for all of your uploads for your reels, which you need reels up there for people to see your acting. It costs, I think, $60 a minute, something like that. So if you have a 2-minute reel, $30 a minute. That's right. Okay. 2-minute reel is $60, not that bad. Yeah. But if you're wanting to upload, they say you need slate shots, you need snippets of different scenes and stuff like that. It all adds up to be several $100s by the time you've uploaded all the different types of clips that you need for there. So it's like, all the money that is made from all the various aspects all ultimately go back into career making things, and of course housing. Yeah, because everybody needs somewhere to live and eat. So
can't forget that.
Exactly. I'm not one of those chicks that goes and blows it on Chanel. I'll go to TJ Maxx for that. Thank you.
Hey. And no one would know the difference, honestly.
For
real. The majority have no idea.
Exactly. My favorite designer right now is or like established designer. I have very many designers that are on not super discovered, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I like that a lot. But it's like, you also expensive. But The Vampire's Wife, I love her stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, she had a collaboration with H&M, and I spent I bought one of those dresses, and that was me splurging on clothes, you know? And it's like, I bought it from H&M. You know, H&M only goes so high.
Right.
So it's like, you know, that was a treat myself. But
the clothes don't make you, you make the clothes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
but you know, it's like that kind of thing. And it's like, I think that's where the money goes. So on NFTs, if I make $500,000 on that, it will go towards housing, saving for a better future, for, you know, rainy day stuff, and investing back into, you know, acting materials and acting classes on top of that. The cheapest that you can find is like $200 a month for in-person acting classes, and all that stuff. So it's like, it's just, yeah, it's like
amazing.
People, there used to be a really cool setup in Europe where you would have, I guess, a grantor type thing. There would be grants for artists, because some people, it's really their gifting and their calling in life in order to be an entertainer. And people do not understand how much that goes into all that. It's physical, emotional, financial, all the different things, you know. And they would have people who would, there would be like a fund for actors and musicians and stuff, to where you create, and that's what you do. You create art, and they took care of you, type thing. And that's what side hustles do. They create, I used to work at a flower shop, you know, and it's like all the money from that went to supporting my creativeness, to be able to practice and rehearse and memorize and submit, and to interact with the right people in order to be seen, and to better myself and stuff. And so with the whole NFT space, hopefully all this time, that I think that's what a lot of people are doing, especially in the creative industries. They're spending a lot of time up front to create these works of art and like these content pieces, to put them up there so then they can sell, and that they can have, I guess, side income in order to support their creative vision and their drive. Because as a creator, people are like, well, just make that. I'm like, some things are easy like that, but it's like, I can't make you a feature film in 2 days.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like, I mean, that's my whole motivation behind the NFT space, in order to supplement, you know, during slower seasons. And everybody goes through them with, you know, every creative goes through slow seasons. I mean, Matthew McConaughey was talking about it, and I'm like, and he is Matthew McConaughey, you know? So
it's essentially like, when you think about the really, you know, I was watching some interview, and the guy was like, the difference between you and a famous actor or director is that they just have the audience.
Mm-hmm.
All you need is that. And literally you can fund and live the life you want. So it's finding ways, because everything's so controlled, even the social media world, you know, they'll share who they really want to put, you know, or feature on the site, because someone's controlling all those things, those moving parts. You're going to hit a wall, because it's not your establishment. But when it's your establishment, and that's the thing, is like, ultimate freedom is being able to green light your own, you know, your own project, and it goes everywhere, versus under corporations and companies. And then that, I mean, it's good money, but it trickles down. But the ultimate goal is being that corporation yourself, being your own.
Exactly. It's the American dream, you know, to not have to, I mean, it's the, like, this is a worldwide podcast, but you know, it's like, when you think about all these movies talking about immigrants coming to America, they're coming for the American dream, so they don't have to work for somebody else, and it's totally achievable wherever you are. But America has like a lot more doors that are open for people to create a life for themselves. I think that's what I meant. I didn't mean to put down. I love other countries. Absolutely. Like I really do. But it's I guess the creator's dream. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And it's like the ultimate like freedom we can have on this earth is to be able to create our own life and do what we want to do and what we love to do and make a living off of that, you know?
Yeah.
To where, I mean, like creating movies we want to watch and we enjoy being a part of, you know, and artwork that we want to look at, you know, artwork that we think other people will like because we like it, you know, of subjects that we think are important, you know, and things that need to be said and heard, you know, having that freedom to be able to do that and then somehow find the platform. The platform seems to be the key for a lot of things right now. It's, you know, it used to just be physical relation. But it's still a huge thing is physical relationships.
Absolutely.
But like like relationships you actually have, you know, that's still a huge part of success in any field. But for creators specifically, it's like the social media platforms seem to be really
where it's at right now.
It's so interesting because it's like most of it's short form, you know, and it's like I love movies. I want 2.5 hours, you know. I was like, that's what I want to do. 1.5 hours, you know, something like that. But and it's like that's still totally a viable artistry. But
I love that. And you're right. That is, and that's what you're working towards, and that's what you're gonna get because you're putting that out there. You're putting that out there, and eventually you reap that harvest of what you've put out there. I believe that. Like, I mean, that's how, you know, people say, well, how did you do this? Well, in order to get there were these steps I had to take.
Right.
But then of course, over time, you know, it's like, oh, I got to that goal that I've ultimately wanted, which is, you know, you know, so anything's possible. I like to ask every guest on this show, what advice would you give to someone that wants to either get into NFT or even just whether it's to fund their ultimate goal of being their own boss as an entrepreneur, artist, whatever you want to call it. What advice would that look like? What would you give?
Just start. Ooh. That's a big thing. You know, it's like you can do all the research and stuff. But like actually just starting creating them. Now, the one hang up that a lot of people have on NFTs is the gas fees that seem pretty intimidating, but there's a lot of platforms for NFTs that don't cost that much upfront to join in order to be able to sell. Like OpenSea, it's roughly about $300 to sign up to sell things, but then you don't have to pay for anything anymore. You can upload
one time.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Well, it's actually the price changes. I got in at $248. Okay. I kept refreshing the page. At one point, it went all the way up to 500, and I was
wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's something so refreshing the page to drive the price down is great. But yeah, the gas fees are something that really discourage a lot of people because like, I don't want to do that. You know, it's like, I thought it was going to be like this and to be like that, you know? Yeah. But there's other platforms to where it only costs money when you sell something, kind of like a royalty fee, for a listing fee. Let's put it there. So yeah, but I'd say just at least getting started on your art, creating a collection of several pieces. Most very, very successful collections have like 5,000 pieces. But they are auto-generated by a computer. So that's also something that I'm like, you didn't hand draw these. I'm like, right. I'm hand doing my stuff. You know?
Wow. So that's more value. Well, it should be, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So just getting started on doing that, because it is art. And it's like, if you're doing music art, collaboration art, that's a huge thing. If you have, other people that are interested, reaching out to them and seeing if they want to collaborate on something, like with you. Oh, remember that girl I told you about that's a musician?
Yes.
Yes. I thought it'd be really cool for you guys to, like, she sings and writes music and stuff, and you film, and you guys, I feel like you guys will complement each other. Sorry, taking time away from that, but it's like, or to create a NFT type thing, because you have two communities of people that support your art and stuff, and when you combine together, you're appealing to two audiences that are kind of complementary of each other. And then it grows your own network, and then it grows your whole selling factor type thing. But that's what I would say to people, is to just start on what you think works. Because I started on something completely different that I'm not even doing anymore. And it's not because I gave up or anything. It's because I realized, oh, this is actually better. And this is something I enjoy doing far more. It's not quitting. It's, it's shifting gears. And I might come back to it when I feel like it's something I love, but right now it's like the thing that I'm doing is something that I really enjoy creating. And that's something somebody Bob Proctor said this too. He's like, just get started going after what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Just like start making moves. And then it's like, you might not get to where you thought you were going to be when you started. You might even completely change careers, but you will find that you are happy and feeling fulfilled, doing something completely different than what you started out wanting to do. Like, I wanted to be a singer, and now I'm an actor, and now I really like doing that. Now I'm doing digital art, which is appealing to my inner child. That was something that I wanted to do when I was a kid. But, it's all these different things, and they all kind of weave together and add to your life experience, which makes you a more well-rounded person.
That's it.
So
that's literally it. Yeah, it definitely makes you a well-rounded person, not rounded person, because you're just not doing one thing, one niche or whatever. You're
right.
expanding your palette, which is what an artist does, I think, or
right.
an artist wants to do.
Yeah. And I mean, and we see that with so many things. Everybody's doing collabs and like kind of diversifying like their style of music or music and stuff. But it's like, even on the outside, like they have different careers and companies that they have going on. It's like nobody is just one thing. It's like we are all limitless beings, and we have different loves and desires. There's a guy that I watch, his name's Evan Carmichael. He's a really inspiring like entrepreneur encourager, and he talks about your one word. And so many different people they sum their motivation all down into one word. And it kind of coincides with my whole like creative desire to make and do things. It's the word beauty. It's like everything that's always bothered me in my life is because it didn't, as weird as it sounds, didn't feel beautiful. That was something that it didn't achieve beauty because they didn't put in full effort. You know what I mean? Beauty doesn't just mean like, oh, that's beautiful cut and whatever. It's like, I want to make people feel beautiful, if that makes any sense. I want to create things that people think are beautiful, beautiful works of art, beautiful films, aesthetically pleasing things that are done well at a level of excellence. That's all encompassed in the word beauty to me. Defining something into one word to help motivate you and channel your things.
I love that.
Yeah. It's not my original thought. That's just my word, and I'm
and you're doing it. You're doing just that. You're doing just that. And I recently watched something of yours. I was on line. I saw something and I just ended up watching it, and it was really good. I just took myself. I, Besides the fact that I know you personally, it was just so cool to see you. Like you're living the reality that you say you want to be, and that's what you're doing. So it's that's really, you're doing that.
Well, thanks. I mean, it's always constantly, I think that's every artist problem. Benedict Cumberbatch says it too. He's like, his constant struggle is knowing that he will never achieve perfection in his performances. And he's always striving to be better. But it's like, I'm a perfectionist per se. But it's like, sometimes I don't like watching my performances back, but I'm constantly trying to like better myself in all avenues of my life.
Yeah.
So, because it all, as an actor, everything from your life combines together, and your life experience. When I was in school, my acting teacher told me that I couldn't do certain things until I had more life experience. And I was like, you don't know. And then I had some pretty intense life experiences, and it really opened the door for a lot more emotional expression and understanding for characters. So that was something that was like, oh, well, she was right. I was like, life experience helps, but it's like, you don't have to have some traumatic experience in order to play roles that are traumatized. You can see things and hear stories and go places and do things, and just open your mind for stuff like that to
just come in and flow. Yeah.
Better yourself. Yeah, exactly. And but like creating the world that you want to live in, it's what are all the things that go into that world, because you can't control other people, you can only control yourself.
Yep.
And all that stuff, your mindset of how you view things and take things, whether you take it personal, whether you react to things, the casting director, back to that whole thing, finding out the casting director viewed me as being too fat for anything that he cast and stuff like that. It's like, I could have just wallowed in self-pity and be like, he doesn't know, but it's like, he was the casting director in my area at the time. And it's like right now, I do not have at the time, I did not have the capability to go live off on my own. My parents didn't want to fund me going out to a big city to live on my own and pursue my career in acting, because they were still not entirely sold on it, So at the time, I was trying to work a side job and go to classes and stuff and audition for the things that I knew about. And he was the guy that was doing a lot of the casting in the area. And it's like, I have to do something about it. So, so that's one thing, to help create the world that you want. It's like, it's like taking in external factors and stuff and feedback and a grain of salt.
That's it.
And things. Yeah. Cause it's like, if you think you can't improve,
then that's you're not going to go anywhere. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a constant reevaluation really of self.
Exactly.
And this industry that we embarked on is literally that. It's just being honest with self.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, like, for actors, I know money gets tight for a lot of actors, especially ones living in big cities, and especially now with all the, rising prices of everything. But acting classes can get really expensive, and they're like, well, I can't do that. And then I'm not crafting my craft because I'm not going to acting classes. And it's like, I'm not dissing acting classes, but I'm saying, you don't, like, there's other ways to have acting classes than being in class, especially if it is something that is financially not a wise move for you right now. Like, I was just talking to another actor that's starting out. He was like, I submit for all these things on Actors Access and all these other different submission sites, and he gets scripts. So he auditions for them, and then he goes back after, whether he gets on it, he goes back and redoes his audition for himself, and then he evaluates it, and he works with other people, you know, like friends and stuff like that. I mean, that was a thing that I heard about, like in the late 80s, early 90s. A lot of actors just got together and they would just run lines together and like act scenes out together without a teacher, you know, because experience is your best teacher. Yeah. And like being on camera and auditioning for things, like being on set is your best teacher. You have your director and they're telling you, no, don't look over there. The camera cannot see your face when you do that. And you're like, oh, okay. But when you're, you know, when you're in an acting class, a lot of times they put you on a stage.
Yeah.
And that's not what it feels like when you're on set. You know, it's not like you don't have the camera in your face. You're giving your whole range of motion for a room of people,
right,
you know, to be able to see. And it's like, that's theater. That's not film. That's a wide shot in film.
For me, it's not always about the show is not just about stories of like working. I mean, obviously you're a working actor. This is your life. Behind the scenes, that the real work that you put into being where you are, and I think, like you said, it goes back to what you said. A lot of people say, no, I can be an actor, and for me, a lot of people, I met people that are like, yeah, it's my calling, and then they're like, so can you give me this job? And I'm like, well, it doesn't really necessarily work that way. You know, you have to, there's an auditioning process, there's the classes, there's learning the technique of knowing how the lingo goes. But, you know, of course I don't really say all that sometimes because, you know, people just have their perception of what it is from the outside looking in and not actually inside of it.
Yeah.
So, thank you for sharing that.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. And I mean, it's like everybody, when you meet people just starting on their actor journey, it's like, it's very different than somebody who's been doing it for a long time. It's like, there's still the constant drive and grind of like submitting and like auditions and stuff like that. But some things aren't the same because as you get more experienced, I'm not saying you don't need, like you always need to be bettering yourself, but there's different things that you do, if that makes sense. I don't really know how to explain it, but
I totally know. I totally understand what you're saying. Totally understand that.
Yeah. Because it's like you do it so much, like going to all the different classes, like they're all the acting teachers, Stanislavski, Meisner, you know, there's still Adler and Ivana Chubbuck and everything. And it's like, and I've studied all those things and I've done it several times. So it's like, it's all in my head. I know, you know, like, I'm not saying like I can't learn more because you can learn more, but it's like somebody talking about the bases and stuff like that. And it's like, but I meet a lot of young actors that are just starting out and they're theorizing about the differences between the different teachers. And it's like, yes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because it's like, if you've been in it, if you've been in something your whole life and somebody's just discovering it, you're not wanting to put them down per se. But it's like it's something that doesn't necessarily benefit you,
right?
If that makes sense. It's kind of like
yes,
yeah. So
that's real, and I know exactly what you mean. I've had so many of those moments, and you're just like,
yeah,
oh, awesome.
It's like I did that.
Yeah, like, thanks.
Yeah.
You know, because on top of everything that you're doing, thank you for talking about NFC. I really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
I've just learned a lot that I had no idea about. So thank you. And I'm sure it's going to be super helpful for people that want to get involved in this world.
That's scratching the edge, you know.
Oh my God. We'll have you back on for more, for sure. Once you sell like 5 or 10 of those cards, I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
I'm sure you will. It's because you're working. So right now, what do you have working? What are you working in right now? And where can people find you on social media?
Okay. So I working on producing that feature film called Flight 704. It's about the DB Cooper, you know, hijacking thing that happened in 1971, but our story takes place 10 years later. Is it him? Is he back? Anyways, yeah, so It's a pretty fun thriller. It's been a lot. But you can find that on Instagram at Cooper Movie or coopermovie.com. My personal social media is at TAYLLYO, Talio on Instagram, and on TikTok, but I don't really get on there that much. Or my Facebook page is Taylor Lyons. So yeah, so those are my social media things. A little bit of something I'm working on as far as the entertainment industry goes. But like with all working actors, doing commercials in between. I did get a really cool LA Fitness commercial, so that just came out. I'm pretty excited about that. It's supposed to be their national campaign, so that's really cool.
That's awesome.
It's always really cool when you see the fruition of your work come out. You're like, oh, that was fun. No, that looks really cool. So yeah, just trying to get working on some other things that it's too early to talk about, if that makes sense.
I feel that.
And then
and hopefully we get to work on something soon.
Yes, it's happening. It's going to happen. Those are the things that I'm, working on right now. But yeah, Flight 704 at Cooper Movie on Instagram and Hollywood NFT TC on OpenSea. So
follow those, those links. Also, you have merch for that. So, that's coming out soon. So people can buy merch for the film. Because it's super dope, by the way, everybody. And thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure catching up and talking to you about how awesome you are, because, oh my God, you just are. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Always remember to live, love, laugh. All right, guys. See you later. Bye.